Okay, so this time around, we're going to do the format just a little bit different, and we're going to be asking Tracy some hard-hitting questions. Here's our first question for Tracy. What kind of support system do you have? Friends, family, former colleagues, and how have they helped you through this experience?
So when I first found out about the layoff, I told the whole world. I just wanted them to know I'm a pretty open person, right? So I share pretty much everything. My husband told me was, you just take the time you need to rest, take the time you need to digest. Once you feel ready, then come back to work. For my friends, they actually started telling me, hey, let me know if you need referrals. Some of my ex-coworker even went above and beyond to like find me jobs on various resources, LinkedIn, Google, job posts, and will send it to me. And they will even connect me to someone if they know the hiring manager or anybody at the company. I even had an ex-coworker's friend, which is a total stranger that I don't know, had the other person reach out to me to meet online and to gather my requirements or the criteria I was looking for. And then that person actually went above and beyond again to help me find jobs.
I wanted to know how did it feel getting support from all of your like family and friends?
I feel really grateful that they care about me. They really give me space and time to digest. But I'm a very type A person. So there are times when people say, I'm sorry to hear about that. And I'm just like, I don't need you to feel sorry for me. Like, this sucks. I was like, how can I let this happen? I know it has nothing to do with me, but being a minority female, first generation immigrant, I have very much severe imposter syndrome all the time, even when I had a job. So losing that job makes me even question my self-worth more. That did I do something wrong that caused this? How can I let this happen? This is like horrible. I personalize that, contributed all of that to myself, which I shouldn't. But there are days I just feel really anxious and like my anxiety really just beats my logical self that I couldn't think rationally.
Do you think it kind of sounds like it's the question yourself, like you could have controlled it, even though we know like logically.
Yep. I remember my team, because my team was all female. We were working on so many different projects. We even tried to create more projects just to showcase our value, just to prove that, we can contribute and we can like add value to the company.
And I think that's an important call out, because I think, just keeping it conversational, I think there was some misinformation around that at the time about the workload. Because there were certain people who maybe didn't have as much value, and they were unfortunately the ones that were very loud in interviews. I remember there was one blogger who said she was a recruiter and she was getting paid X amount of dollars and just wasn't working. And like, you were taking on all these extra projects. I was working on projects with the full workload, and then was still even working after I got laid off because I wanted to close out my candidates, just at least text them and let them know, like, hey, somebody will reach out to you. Unfortunately, I'm no longer with the company. So I think that's a good call out, Tracy, that you were busy there at the end, that you were working, you were adding value.
And it's interesting how people react to or deal with the layoffs, or when they hear about it happening in the workforce, where in your case you were working your ass off, and then for others this is great, it's just gonna lay back and just relax for now. So I'm sure throughout the company there were different ranges to that.
Yeah.
What kind of, in hindsight, is there anything you wish you had done differently in your previous job to prepare for the potential layoff?
I should have started looking earlier, because I know some folks at the time, when the rumors are going around that's going to come to us, some people were already starting to look for jobs. They had a target of applying 1 job per day. And at the time I was like, well, it's okay. If it comes, it comes. I'm just going to take some time off and then I'll resume. When I resume, I'm sure I'll find a job. Knowing how bad the economy is going to turn. Right now, it's 2024. First quarter is coming to an end soon. I haven't been looking, but I know the job market has been worse since I was impacted. So maybe I would have looked for a new job sooner, even before the layoff, prepare myself and give myself more opportunities to interview with companies.
Yeah. If you were to talk to the Tracy of the past couple of months after layoff to, what would you tell that Tracy that you wish someone had told you?
I would tell her that, similar to what Charlie said, right? Like, no matter what kind of difficulties you're going through, the world doesn't stop because of that. It still goes on. We're just such a small existence in the world, and it's okay to feel devastated, but you just gotta keep moving on with hope. I know it's hard to have hope There are days I just feel like I can't do this anymore. You don't think this is going to get any better, because when you're stuck in like a difficult situation, you think of it as eternity, like it's never going to, come to an end. But luckily I have a supporting network, and I met you guys from the weekly
Yeah.
meeting, from this community. And because I went through those moments, really dark moments that I felt nobody understood, right? But when I meet with the group, I felt like you guys get it, because
Yeah.
we're doing it together. We're doing this together.
It's so good. What's the job search been like so far? Have you had any surprising challenges or any good leads?
Well, I hate to tell everyone, the answer is no, which I also found it very surprising. So, from a statistics standpoint, I applied for 350 plus jobs in a span of 3 months. I actually stopped looking since last Thanksgiving. So, I was job searching from June to August, and then resumed from September to November. Out of the 350 applications, a lot of them were actually internal referrals from ex coworkers, from close friends, from senior directors and above, from previous companies that I worked for, to give me those referrals. I kid you not. For the referrals, sure, I immediately got a call from the recruiters, but I never bypassed the hiring manager round. Till this day, I still do not know why. I have some hypotheses, but like if people know why, please tell me. But essentially, they never gave me any constructive feedback. It was all positive feedback. It's just they moved on with someone else. And I suspect that because all of my experiences, professional experiences, were in Google and another big tech company, sometimes that can be seen as a bad thing.
Oh, yeah,
Exactly.
there's definitely a stigma out there, right?
Yeah.
It's a stigma. And let's be real, Tracy, we've had this conversation. And I think I told you, I think it's because when you go to Fang, it kind of is this target on your back, right? Because the next thing you know, you might be interviewing with somebody at, a mid-sized to small company, just a different company that's not Fang. And it's almost like going home to your small town. And now your small town cop wants to pull you over because you got out of the small town and they
Yeah.
didn't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I definitely think there's some resentment there. And it's
So I
like
should be grateful. I should be grateful they didn't waste my time then.
it's like a gotcha behind the scenes. And I have worked in non-Fang since the layoff. And so I've got to hear the inner rumblings at companies of exactly what they think of Fang. And
Okay.
Yeah, so sorry to break this to y'all. It hasn't led to
yeah,
any interviews at this point, and there are
Mhm.
days I just really beat myself up and say, "What's wrong with me?" I'm sure you're not alone, because I felt the same. And by Thanksgiving, another sad news came is my husband's company announced that they were also going to lay off the entire US operation because they're
oh my
moving it to
gosh.
India. So literally, they told my husband the day before that his last day will be sometime this year, Q1 this year. And I was
Wow.
like, no, how? It's just one after another. And
Yeah.
because I'm a pretty negative person to begin with, I can't. And then my husband looked at me. He's like, I'm actually pretty grateful. I was like, why? He said, well, because they told me way earlier so I can start looking for a new job. And I
Yeah.
was like, no, I don't want to hear any of
Like
this.
end of the world.
No,
Like no.
It
yeah.
kind of feels like it, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I've decided that if continue looking for a job is so painful for me mentally, I might as well just not look for it, right? I might as well just like go learn something else that actually makes me feel better and a more useful person, right?
Mhm.
So then I started to like really explore AI tools, right? Talking to people who are running AI startups, and just that has opened up a whole new world for me to see
Mhm.
more opportunities and have hope. If I keep looking for a job and keep getting rejecting on a daily basis, like through emails, those auto emails, I'll be so much worse. That was like the turning point for me.
Tell us more about the AI stuff. So what have you done there?
Yeah, so actually, in our weekly meetup, Gina invited an ex coworker who started his new startup company that has to do with AI. After his presentation, I literally just went on his LinkedIn, added him, and then privately messaged him and say, "Hey, here's my background. I would love to learn and see where I can contribute to your company." So I actually worked for him for a few months on a project. Basically, is to develop a GPT playbook for the client that was contracting, working with this AI startup. And I learned a lot about how to use, like how to customize GPTs, how to use them, and different use cases. And that has made me feel more useful than looking for a job. Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I understand not looking for a job. However, we all know that we have homes, rent, food, car
Kids.
payments, you name it. What's your plan in terms of making sure you still make income or money coming in to help sustain, your life pretty much, like with family and take care of just things that you need to pay for?
Yeah. I think that can turn into another video one day.
Yeah.
But I mentioned last video that I actually am a pretty good saver. So I started working since I was 16 and I've been saving since I was 16. And have a spreadsheet that I run for budgeting. I make sure on a monthly basis you don't exceed that limit. So I have some runway to go. And then on the side, I also run investments, right? Real estate investments and stock investments. I know I might sound a little bit privileged, but I don't go out to drink, right? Like not unnecessary expenses. I'm sure those things give other people joy, but like it doesn't give me joy. Saving gives me joy. Being frugal gives me joy. So like I was just really hardcore. I think in my 20s, I was just like hardcore saving and investing mode because I just wanted to. I don't know when the raining day is going to come, so I was always reminding myself that prepare for that. So this is the raining day that I'm dealing with right now. So luckily I have that. And I have timeline for myself, right? If by this time things don't work out, then I will maybe open up to moving back to the Bay Area because during the pandemic, we actually moved out of the Bay Area for bigger.
That's where I'm at too. If my contract doesn't get renewed, I'll probably move there as well, just
Yeah.
to be in a better market. Yeah.
Well, so there are different options that we can wait on. We also thought about moving back to Asia because the cost of living is lower,
Ooh.
right? And, trying out the entrepreneurship route and see what that's going to look like. So there are different things we can talk about. We can always, we can also sell assets. I mean, it's not ideal. It's like our last resort, but at least we have something to fall back on.
So Tracy, tell us, how has getting laid off reframed the way you think about work?
So before the layoff, I had a roadmap for myself that by 3 years, I'm going to get this promotion. By 5 years, I'm going to be at this level, 10 years, and I'll stay in tech for forever. But when the reality hits, it really brings me back from Mars to Earth that nothing is going to last for forever. The good times won't last forever. So does the bad times. And I would just basically tell my old self that allow variance to happen in life because this is actually feedback from my husband. When I'm getting so in my dark mode, he would tell me straight out and say, why you're feeling so upset because for your entire life, you set this track for yourself and you only allow yourself to be in this track. You do not allow even 0.1 millimeters off from this track. So when things don't go the way you want, you freak out.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, he's kind of right. But
it's like a level of control, right?
Yes.
This is
I
it.
love
Like it has to be this
everything.
way.
Right? My son needs to behave this way. My husband needs to treat me like that. My job needs to be at this. You need to advance. And I set too much parameters for myself. And when that doesn't go the way I want it, I lost it. So that was a big realization that I have and actually helps me to see life in a much broader way. So I would say this is actually, I know it's a bad thing to go through layoffs, but I actually gained positive realizations from this experience.
Conversation. What is one advice that you want to impart to our viewers?
For viewers that are currently going through layoffs, I know it's hard. It's lonely to go through that yourself, but I want you to tell yourself that it's not you. Remind yourself every day, look at yourself in the mirror. It's not you. It's the market. And I know when bad time comes, it can feel like eternity. Just remind yourself, no, it's not going to last for forever and keep having hope. Whatever it is that helps you have hope, whether it's watching a video from people who are going through more devastating situations or talking to friends who also went through hardships. Just find ways to have hope because hope is what keeps us going.
Thank you so much for sharing, Tracy. That was really fun and kind of heartwarming to get to know you a little bit better. Thank you for that. In our next episode, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into Gina's layoff journey and get to know Gina a little bit better. Again, we just want this channel to be a place of hope for you all. And maybe we can build a community out of this and commiserate and find joy together. And with that, we'll see you in the next episode when we get to know Gina better.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.